Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Net Zero Nuclear Pavilion in the Green Zone here at COP28. My name is Jennifer Gordon, and I'm the director of the Atlantic Council's Nuclear Energy Policy Initiative. And I'm so delighted to be here, now that we are all here, talking about nuclear horizons or nuclear frontiers and focusing on new technologies, new countries, and new use cases. And it's really difficult to imagine a better group of people to talk about these subjects and to address these issues than this panel. So I'm really delighted to introduce our panelists for today, Dr. John Wagner, who is the laboratory director of Idaho National Laboratory. So, John, I'd like to start with you, and because the title of this panel, again, is New Horizons, New Technologies, New Countries, and New Use Cases, so that's a lot. But over the weekend, there was a great article in Bloomberg, which I actually read on the airplane here, that talked about new technologies and the next generation of reactors that are being built at INL. So talk to us a little bit more. What's going on at the laboratory?
Yeah, thank you, Jennifer, and thank you for having me on this panel. It's great to be on this panel with this esteemed group. So a shout out to Will Wade from Bloomberg for the article. Will came and visited our site and then wrote a really nice article, as you already noted, about what's going on there. A lot is going on. So let me just do a little bit of context first. Some of you may not be familiar with U.S. Department of Energy National Laboratories. I won't give you the whole story on those. But of those, we are the one at Idaho National Laboratory that's focused on nuclear energy research, development, and demonstration. So that's our thing. And actually, nuclear power was first demonstrated on our site. Back in that time period, we built out 52 different reactors, built them, operated them, demonstrated different technologies. But we went through a period of time in the United States where we stopped doing that. And so it has been 50 years since we have demonstrated a new novel reactor on our site. And I tell you that to set the context of what's happening now. It's incredibly exciting. We are working towards demonstrating 3 new reactors in just the next 3 years. Now, these are very small systems. They're not your AP1000s or your small modular reactors, but we're doing it to learn how to do it again. And actually, something I think we'll come back to is the different use cases. So the first few are micro-type reactors. 85 Marble reactor will be 85 kilowatts. So that will help us learn how to do it again. Very exciting, also sometimes challenging, and also will provide a platform for R&D for these very small micro-reactor systems to demonstrate how they're going to work. And I'll come back to some of that again later. The second one is a Department of Defense reactor, a mobile nuclear power plant. The deployment opportunity or mechanism is in cargo containers. So it'll provide the Department of Defense with mobile nuclear power. The third is not so much a reactor as an experiment to get data and understand how a new system is going to work. This is a collaboration with Southern Company and TerraPower called the molten chloride reactor experiment. When it goes operational or goes critical, that will be the first fast spectrum molten salt reactor in the world. And so we're learning how to do that, preparing the salts and so forth. So that's just a snapshot, because I know we have other panelists, but that is, again, just a snapshot of all the exciting things that we're doing, in addition to the fundamental research that we've continued to do for quite some time, fundamental research in things like new nuclear fuels, like TRISO fuels, new nuclear materials, molten salts, recycling, et cetera, et cetera. So I'll stop there, though, for now.
John, thank you so much. And again, just want to emphasize how crucial the role of the laboratory is in demonstrating and testing these reactors. So thank you so much. And I'd like to stay for my next question in the Mountain West for one more moment, because for the last few years, the Atlantic Council has been involved in a project called the Frontiers Project with the Idaho National Laboratory, where we've tried to create a consortium of Mountain West states that are interested in bringing advanced reactors actually to off-grid applications. But I think what's clear is that what we do in our own regions really has a global significance and global impact. So, John, my question to you is, how do we bring this regional work to global markets?
Thanks for the discussion on the Frontiers Project. Atlantic Council has been a fantastic partner, of course. Let me say, kind of concentrate in 2 different areas. Maybe I'll bring workforce in as a third, but the first was in our region, we started just talking to different energy users and communities that were interested in their transition and what they might look like. And so we concentrated initially sort of locally. And Wyoming is a very significant energy producer in the United States, energy exporter across their state boundaries, and frankly, a state that really understands energy. And so we would refer to them as having a high energy IQ as a state. And so they were very interested in not just the large power systems that they needed, but also remote power extraction. That also kind of quickly led us into talking to states like Alaska, which has very unique power needs, particularly in the very small nuclear systems where remote communities are relying on diesel fuel that in sometimes is flown in or barged in once or twice a year, weather permitting. And these communities rely on that as the lifeblood of their communities. And so also the price point, frankly, is quite different in a situation like that. And so we have been very active in helping these communities, these energy users, understand what are the options? What does it look like? Answering their questions about what does it mean to have a nuclear power plant in our facility? And how real is this? And, all sorts of questions like that. What about the nuclear waste? All these questions. So part of it has been stakeholder engagement with energy users for a variety of applications that typically have not thought about nuclear. And then the other part of this is how real is this? And so at the laboratory, we play a significant role working with our private sector partners in trying to make these things real. So maybe this group might not be surprised, but when we have some of these folks come and visit the laboratory and we talk about micro-nuclear reactors, what they might look like, we talk about the Marvel reactor, the Pele reactor, several serious officials of different, I won't say which organizations, say, okay, fine, where can I buy one? Well, you can't buy one right now. So we have to show what these things are going to cost, how they operate, what they look like. And there's a huge appetite for this. And so that's an important role that we play. And then third, I have to touch on workforce that others have already by demonstrating these, by showing what they look like and so forth, that's opened it up even beyond regional. The states like West Virginia, states like Utah and Montana and our region of interest. And I think that's really how we go global, is by showing the way in both stakeholder engagement as well as demonstrating these systems for others to see. In terms of workforce, when you think about tripling nuclear, you think about what we're dealing with regionally, and then you think about globally, we do not have anywhere near the workforce that we need. I operate a laboratory that employs over 6,000 people. We've been growing quite fast. And when anybody asks me, what's the thing I'm concerned about the most? It's not the safety of our facilities or the safety of our materials. It's our workforce. Where are we going to get enough people with the right skills to deliver on what the nation and what the planet need from nuclear and even other work that we do? So thanks for the question.
Thank you so much. And I am so sorry to say that we are unfortunately out of time. So everyone, please join me in thanking our panelists.